Dear friends and my fellow citizens of this great Indian nation, I am very sorry to say that the election speech of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in an election rally in Banswara, Rajasthan, and where he claimed that the Congress manifesto talks about taking the stock of gold of all mothers and sisters and distributing wealth, and adding that the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh spoke of saying that Muslims had the first right to country's assets. And earlier, when the government was in power, they had said that Muslims have the first right on country's assets. This means to whom will this property will be distributed? It will be distributed among those who have more children. It will be distributed to the infiltrators. Should your hard-earned money to go to the infiltrator? That was the question he put to the public at large. And after hearing this speech, in fact, I am very sorry to say that he is the Prime Minister of India, and he must have some regard and respect to the office that he is holding. And no Prime Minister in the history of India has lowered the dignity of this office as much as the Modi has done on the other day. And I have got highest regard personally to the Modi because he is our Prime Minister. But a Prime Minister must represent the aspirations of the entire gamut of population of the nation. But here, of course, this is the election period, and naturally you will try to canvass your party's ideology. That is nothing wrong. But the speech of Prime Minister Modi is does not behove of the status of a Prime Minister of India. And you must remember that he is holding the office of the Prime Minister. And his speech, when we closely observe, is highly communal, divisive, and condemnable and deplorable. And in fact, unfortunately, the speech is a hate speech. To term it that it is a hate speech, it's a divisive speech, and it incites hatredness among the people of India, and it is dividing the people on communal lines, and which is very highly condemnable and illegal also, because the model code of conduct issued by the Election Commission of India is clearly says that no party or candidate shall include in any activity which may aggravate the existing differences or create communal hatred or cause tension between different castes, communities, religious or linguistic. That is the first paragraph of Model Code of Conduct released by the Election Commission of India. And what the present CEC Rajiv Kumar advisory to the political parties and also the candidates who are contesting the elections in this 2024 18th Lok Sabha elections, and he advised, and I reiterate, I urge parties to refrain from personal attacks and foul language. No-go areas in speeches are defined to maintain civility. Let us not cross the lines in our rivalry. We have issued an advisory for the political parties. They are encouraged to foster a political discourse that inspires rather than divides. That's what the advisory of the present Chief Election Commissioner Raju Kumar, and who has to regulate the hate speeches in the election. And it is pertinent to note that the Modi speech is clearly in violation of the provisions of Section 123, Clause 3 of People's Representation of People's Act 1959, which says that the appeal by a candidate or his agent or by any other person with consent of a candidate or otherwise to vote or refrain from voting based on his religion, race, caste, community or language. It is a corrupt political practice. And this Model Code of Conduct, and supported by this Section 123, Clause 3 of Representation of People's Act 1959, if we analyze the speech of the Prime Minister Modi, definitely it is in violation of not only the Model Code of Conduct but also the statutory provisions. And again, now what I want to say is, it's also not only that these communal speeches and hate speeches, when they should be, when the court have got any right to intervene, as there are many number of instances where the courts have also intervened, and also the election commission has intervened and acted upon. In fact, in 2019 Lok Sabha election commission has barred 4 political leaders, including the then union minister Maneka Gandhi and other leaders. And the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was barred from campaigning for 72 hours. And Bahujan Samaj Party leader Mayawati was also barred for 48 hours after being found guilty of violating model code of conduct during the election campaign. And it is what the Law Commission also says. In 2014, the Law Commission, the Supreme Court adjourned Law Commission of India to consider making recommendations to the Parliament to strengthen the Election Commission to curb the practice of hate speeches, irrespective of whenever is made and wherever is made and by whomsoever it made. And the law panel also described the hate speech as any word written or spoken, signs, visible representations within the hearing or sight of a person with intention to cause harm, fear, alarm, or incitement to the violence. So the law panel, the election commission, this law commission has recommended amending IPC and introduce new provision in sub proviso to the section 153 of Code of Criminal Procedure Code, that prohibitment of, so they wanted to add 153C. What this 153, and in fact the Indian Penal Code section 153A squarely is attracted by the hate speech rendered by Prime Minister Modi during his election campaign. What section 153A says? IPC says, promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion, race, place, birth, residence, language, etc., and doing the acts which are prejudicial to the maintenance of harmony among different religions and castes and people. So, section 153A of IPC is also clearly attracted. Now we are hearing the news, and also we are hearing the news that the opposition parties have taken strong objection for this and made an appeal to the Election Commission of India. But we are seeing the news reports and also hearing the news that the Election Commission is deficient and is hesitant to even to answer the questions on this aspect, and it declines to respond to the hate speech made by the Prime Minister of India. And in fact, a gesture by the Election Commission of India by sending a notice to PM Modi questioning as to why they should not take action against him, that will go a long way in giving a soothing message to the entire public at large, to the entire nation, to the all political parties, and it would send a big message. If it does not take action, then it is a signal that this is a toothless commission, and it has no powers in its own. It has no autonomy. So, and for the increased speech of this kind, this gives a free license. So, we are hearing the news that the opposition parties, when approached, including the Congress, by presenting memorandum to the Election Commission of India to take action against Prime Minister Modi, and so far there is not even a notice by the Election Commission of India to the Prime Minister Modi. Then where is the autonomy of the Election Commission of India? And he is violating the Model Code of Conduct and violating the guidelines and advisory issued by the Chief Election Commissioner. So, whether the courts can intervene in the matter in a situation like this? Yes, there are many occasions where the courts also have intervened. And as I said, in 2019, Election Commission of India acted upon. And why this Election Commission now is not going to act? So, in this case, so what is the section 123A reads? 123A reads clearly, the promotion or attempt to promote feelings of enmity or hatred between different classes of citizens of India on the grounds of religion, race, caste, community, or language by a candidate or his agent or any other person with the consent of a candidate or his election agent for the furtherance of the prospects of election of that candidate or for prejudicial affecting the election of the candidate. So it is very clear. And in this case, what is the summary of the section 123 clause 3 of Representation of People's Act? Appeal to vote or refrain from voting for any person on the grounds of his religion, race, caste, community or language, and the use of appeal to religious symbols or caste, or the use of appeal or the appeal to national symbols by a candidate or his agent. And here the Prime Minister Modi is canvassing on behalf of the BJP candidate. So it is clear that this man has violated the code of conduct, and in fact we are all feeling ashamed of such speech from a Prime Minister, which is not expected under any circumstances. You must not forget that he is the Prime Minister of India, representing the aspirations of the large, vast section of Indian population, and that lowers the international respect and dignity of the country also. Stooping to that level and creating hatred against the particular community and creating communal divisions and tension, which has become hallmark of this party, which is fighting for third term in the elections. And so, what is the issue? This kind of the issue of hate speech was also considered Section 123 Clause 3 of Representation of People's Act by this Honorable Supreme Court, and it was settled. The issue was settled by 7-judge bench court of the Supreme Court in 2017 in case Abhiram Singh versus C.D. Kamachan by 4/3 majority, where the then Chief Justice of India, T.S. Thakur, forcefully asserted in his judgment for the need to protect the secular and pluralistic character of the country. And he said, electoral process are doubtless secular activities of the state. Religion can have no place in such activities, for religion is a matter of personal to the individual, with which neither the state nor any other individual has anything to do. The relationship between man and God and the means which human adopt to connect with the Almighty are matters of individual preferences and choices. And he summed up the judgment. An appeal in the name of religion, caste, community or language is impermissible under Representation of People's Act, and it would constitute a corrupt practice sufficient to annul the election, and in which such an appeal was made regardless whether the appeal was in the name of the candidate's religion or in the religion of the election agent or of that of the opponent or that of the voters. So in this, the Supreme Court has categorically said that that this kind of hate speech amounts to corrupt practice, and the election of a particular candidate can also be annulled, and he can be disqualified from contesting the elections. And moreover, 2024 elections, Election Commission of India, which is nominated by the Prime Minister, itself says no appeal shall be made on the basis of caste, communal feelings of the electors. No activity which may aggravate the existing differences or create mutual hatred or cause tension between two different communities, two different communities or sections of the society. Then if this is the appeal made by the Election Commission of India, why Election Commission of India is not taking cognizance of such hate speech of the Prime Minister, which is deplored, which has been condemned by all political parties, irrespective of their ideologies, and why Election Commission of India is keeping silent, and whereas it is issuing notices on a simple allegation made by the BJP to against their political opponents. And what actually this man is very adept in distorting the facts as well, because one should say that he was referring to the Prime Minister's Manmohan Singh statement, and taken out a line from the speech of the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, and said that as if the entire wealth of this nation will be given to the Muslims, and he is targeting one particular community. The hatred against the Muslims or a particular community is deplorable from the man who is holding an office of the Prime Minister, and in fact he is distorting the facts, and he is what the Prime Minister have searched for the statement of the Prime Minister, and he said on one occasion, I believe our collective priorities are clear: agriculture, irrigation, water sources, health, education, critical investment in rural infrastructure and essential public investments, needs of general infrastructure, along with programs for upliftment of STs and other backward classes and minorities and women and children. Then he specifically stated the component plans for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe will need to be revitalized. We'll have to, here the important thing is, we will have to devise innovative plans to ensure that minorities, particularly the Muslim minority, are empowered to share equitably the fruits of development. They must have the first claim on resources. The center has a myriad other responsibility whose demands will have to be fitted within the overall resource availability. That's what Manmohan Singh said, but this man is singling out minorities and stating that as if the entire wealth of the nation will be distributed to the minorities, including the personal belongings of the women folk of this country. And this, if it goes by this statement, is a general statement intended for the welfare of all the communities and making special emphasis on minorities who are part and parcel of this country for ages together. They are born here, they fought for independence. And one thing is very clear, the attitude of this government to, because it is backed by the another ideology of Manavadi mentality, Manavadi attitude, and they wanted to impose a communally hegemonic rule in this country by distorting the constitution and democratic principles. And that's why they are distorting the fact. They are not only distorting the constitution, and they are distorting the history, and they are distorting the curriculum of the academic institutions, and now they are even distorting the speeches made in a different context. So the words first claim, if you clearly observe this, what I said about the Manmohan Singh statement, SC, ST, OBC, women, children are mentioned along with minorities, especially Muslims. Even the contentious words first claim on resources are prefaced by underlining collective priorities and the need to share equitably. How is this anything that former Prime Minister said, Manmohan Singh, anything but a reiteration of a constitutional commitment to equality of citizenship and affirmative action? Is there anything wrong in there? And why is distorting, and why is making such a communal inflated and flaring of communal tensions by saying that only to divide the voters? Only to divide the voters. And I hope that the majority of Indians are very secular in their outlook. Here we are all the Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Jains, Buddhists, and Sikhs, and every other people with different religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, languages, and regions. We are all coexisting. We are all living in a harmonious manner. And these people are now flaring up this kind of communal tensions even during the elections to polarize the communities and to and create a vote bank for them and to divert the majority population of this country in their favor. And we must be very cautious about this kind of dubious methods employed by the political parties during the times of election. And we should not fight with each other, and there should not be any communal tension or conflict or any conflicts between different communities. And we must be very careful about the kind of methods employed by this kind of parties. And if at all, Election Commission of India is an autonomous body, and if at all it sticks to abide by its own advisory issued to the political parties during this time, and also if it is interested in implementing the Model Code of Conduct and the Representation of People's Act, it must invoke these provisions and issue a notice to the Prime Minister Modi, so that it will be a good lesson to the other other leaders or candidates or any other political party. Unless the Election Commission of India comes into play and issues notice and take action, Prime Minister Modi, the credibility of Election Commission of India, which is already eroded, and further it will be diminished, and it will have no respect among public. And I hope that Election Commission of India will respond to the call of the public to correct the mistakes committed by Prime Minister Modi in his election speeches, and so that the elections goes on peacefully in a democratic, very free and fair manner, and enabling the people to elect their choicest candidates of any political party, so that the next government which is abide by the constitutional principles, which abide by the democratic principles, is elected democratically in a free and fair manner. Thank you very much.